Come listen to a story, a story, a story. Come listen to a story. It's story time. Come listen to a story, a story, a story. Come listen to a story. It's story time. Hey friends, welcome to another story time with TT Brittany at Grow With Me Educational Center. And today we are going to actually finish the first book of our Addy story collection. Remember, the first book is called Meet Addy. So we're going to start and actually we're going to read the very last chapter, which is chapter 5. And after that, we will come back tomorrow and start the second book. So come on, grab your book, and let's read aloud together. I'll see you there. We are reading Meet Addy, and we are on chapter 5. Today we're reading 5 and 6. Let's get started. Chapter 5, Freedom Taken. A low rumble woke Addy and her mother. Addy thought it sounded like thunder. Then a light appeared far in the distance. Addy could see it moving toward her, bigger and bigger. It looked as if the moon had fallen from the sky and was rolling through the tops of the trees. Safe in the darkness, Addy and her mother crept out of their shelter just in time to see something Addy had only heard about. A train! She could make out its shape charging through the darkness. The engine was spitting red sparks, and a ribbon of smoke ran along the length of the train. As it passed along a curve in the tracks, Addy watched its rear lights disappear into the distance. But instead of moving away in a straight line, the train turned to the right. Addy was puzzled. Then she understood. The train had turned onto a set of tracks she could not even see yet. "Mama, we here," Addy said, a little too loud. She lowered her voice. "The safe house has to be near the place where the train turned. We did it. We made it, Mama." Addy threw her arms around Mama. "I think you're right," Mama said. "Let's go." Addy and her mother ran hand in hand toward the place where the train had turned. "We safe now," Addy exclaimed. "We going to Philadelphia." "Well, we ain't there yet," Mama said sharply. "Hush now. We gonna see Papa and Sam," Addy went on. "Then we come back for Esther and the whole family be together again." Addy pictured them all in Philadelphia living in a beautiful house. "Freedom ain't that easy, girl," Mama warned. "Don't get your hopes too high." But Addy didn't hear her. Spurred on by her thoughts of Philadelphia, she moved faster and faster, pulling away from Mama. Running fast, she felt the cowrie shell beat up against her chest. She was going to freedom. It was a long way to the place where the train had turned, but Addy was still running. When she saw a small light, it looked like a glow of a lantern. Addy thought it must be the window of the safe house. She raced toward it, her mother far behind. It was not until she was closer that she saw she was wrong. She stopped suddenly. The light was from a small campfire in a clearing near the tracks. A group of men were gathered round it. Addy could see them laying on the ground sleeping. She was about to turn and run back the other way when she heard a gruff voice call out, "Who's there?" Addy turned. She could see the face of a white man in the light of the fire. He had on a gray jacket and a gray hat. Oh my goodness, he was a Confederate soldier, and he was staring right at her. "Oh, boy, it's you. Bring me some water," the soldier said. Although Addy knew he was looking right at her, and this is a picture of Addy running up to the campfire, she didn't think he was talking to her. He was talking to some boy. But what boy? Just then, Addy remembered the disguise. She was the boy. Desperately, Addy looked around. Then she saw a bucket of water. To get to it, she had to walk right through the soldiers' camp. She saw another soldier on the ground stir. He rolled over. What if they all wake up and captured her? Addy lowered her head, touched the cowrie shell briefly, and began to move. Inside, she was shaking, but on the outside, she was walking straight and strong past these sleeping soldiers. She picked up the bucket and brought it to the soldier. "Train scare you, did it, boy?" the soldier asked. Addy kept her head down and nodded. "You'll get used to it after a while. Get on back to sleep," the soldier said. Addy wanted to rush back into the woods, but she knew she couldn't. She acted as though she belonged in the camp. She walked to the edge of the clearing and lay down. The soldier lay down too, and Addy waited a few minutes until she heard him snoring. Then as quietly as she could, Addy crept away from the soldiers and into the woods. "I got to warn Mama," Addy thought. Just when she had gotten far enough away from the camp to start running, someone reached out and grabbed her. It was Mama. She pulled Addy so close to her that Addy could feel the shell pressed between them. Mama held Addy for a long moment and then led her away. When they were far from the camp, Mama spoke at last. "I was watching you with them soldiers, Addy, and I was holding my breath the whole time. But you did it, girl. You kept your feelings inside this time. Your papa would be proud." They walked further along the tracks until they came to the place where two sets of tracks met and formed a silvery cross. A house stood beyond the cross, up on a little hill. It was white with red shutters. Papa had been right. To Addy, it seemed that the house was just waiting for them. They did not have to run to it. They only had to walk and knock on the door. Where freedom was, it would open to them. Addy and her mother crouched in the shadows, staring at the White House. There was no light inside. "Why we waiting?" Addy whispered. "I don't know if it's safe," Mother said. "There might be more of them soldiers around." "It's got to be safe," Addy said. "It's a safe house." "Addy, it ain't that simple," Mama said. "Your papa said a white woman lives here. Them soldiers might be coming in and out of here. I don't trust them." "But Mama, we got to trust the white woman." "If we don't, where we gonna go?" Addy asked. Without answering, Mama took a deep breath and stood, pulling Addy up with her. They slipped out of the shadows and walked to the house. Mama tapped lightly on the door. No answer came. She tapped again and still no answer. Addy looked at her mother's face. It was calm and still. At last, a light glowed in the house. Through a small window, Addy could see the light of a candle move through the dark house. She heard the door being unlatched. On the other side, it opened, and an old woman, not much taller than Addy, stood before them. Her face shone in the light of her candle. "Miss Carolyn, can you help us?" Addy asked. Addy saw the woman's face twist into an old, angry scowl. I thought I told you not to come here, boy. Go back and tell those soldiers I won't help them, Miss Carolyn said. She started to shut the door. Addy stuck her foot in the door to keep it from closing. We ain't with them soldiers, ma'am, Addy said quickly, and I ain't a boy. Addy pulled off her hat, revealing her braids. Me and my mama running to freedom. Could you help us? Addy saw the look on the woman's face soften, all the anger washed from it. Come in, Carolyn said. Please come in. Addy and her mother stepped inside. The woman quickly closed the door behind them and led them to the kitchen. My, oh my, Carolyn said. Those are some fine disguises. I thought you were one of those Confederate soldiers. They got here yesterday and sent a boy right over here to ask me for food, but I didn't give him one crumb. I don't cotton to those rebels. You must be tired and hungry. I don't have much and nothing fancy, but you're welcome to it. Sit down and I'll start a fire. Addy and her mother sat watching the woman work. She seemed to be everywhere. Starting the fire, dragging a tin tub next to it, heating a large pot of water, putting plates on a small table. Let us help, Mama said. No, you sit and rest. I know you must be tired, Miss Carolyn said. Who sent you here? Uncle Solomon, Addy's mother said. We trying to get to Philadelphia. Oh, Solomon, the woman sighed. I've known him for over 50 years. Since we were both children on farms that were next to each other. She served Addy and her mother some rice and boiled greens. Addy felt safe in this small, warm house. While Addy and Mama ate, Miss Carolyn left the kitchen. When she returned, she had a bundle of clothes in her arms. These are clothes I saved for runaways. After you bathe, you find something that fits, and you rest here tonight. And then I'll take you to the coast and you can get a ship to Philadelphia from there. We have to leave before sunup, before the soldiers wake in the morning, and come back here. Thank you so much, ma'am, Addy's mother said. I wish I could do something for you. Addy went to her bundle and untied it. She took out half a dime that Uncle Solomon had given her and held it out to the woman. Oh, I don't want your money, Miss Carolyn said. I don't want you to do anything for me. There's no need to thank me. You both are so brave to have escaped and come so far. It's thanks enough to know that I'm helping you have a new life. Addy and her mother took a long hot bath. The dirt from their journey just melted off of them in the warm water. That night, for the first time in their lives, Addy and Mama slept on a real mattress, not one filled with itchy corn husks. Addy tried to stay awake so that she could think of how good it must felt to be clean and safe, but she was too tired. She fell asleep right in Mama's arms. Before the sun came up, Addy, Mama, and Miss Carolyn got ready to leave the small white house with the red shutters. Mama was dressed in a brown dress and Addy a pink one. Addy loved the dress with the wiggly white stripes and the white bottoms running down the front. And the white buttons running down the front. It was prettier than any she had imagined when she dreamed about freedom. Miss Carolyn had found a pair of drawers and a straw bonnet that would fit Addy. After Addy tied the ribbon of the hat under her chin, she stood straight and tall for her mother to see. How do I look, Mama? Addy asked. Mama's eyes filled with tears. I wish your papa could see you, child. Outside, Miss Carolyn hid Addy and her mother in the back of her wagon and covered them with some old sacks. The wagon rocked gently as she pulled away from the safe house. Addy lay next to her mother. She reached for her neck to feel for the shell. Holding it tightly, Addy thought of Esther, Sam, Papa, and even her great-grandma, who had come across that water alone. They were with her, all of them, with the deep well of love in her heart. Addy could feel them with her. "Mama, we done it," Addy said softly, just like Papa said. "We took our freedom." The end. Tomorrow we will start the second book of the Addy collection. And let me show you what the second book is. Let me go back to our table of contents, friends. Our second book is Addy Learns a Lesson. So we just finished Meet Addy, and tomorrow we will start Addy Learns a Lesson. See you tomorrow for another story and story time.